At over 1,400 feet below sea level, this is the planet's lowest point. The air feels heavy. The water stings the skin. Nothing endures here, yet something more dreadful than demise exists: preservation. The Dead Sea doesn't decay what it consumes. Instead, it encases it in salt, holding it captive in time. Were something obliterated here 4,000 years ago, it wouldn't vanish. It would linger, dormant. We are told the Dead Sea is merely a geological feature, a rift, a scar where tectonic plates have diverged. Yet, ancient writings recount a different narrative. A valley known as the Vale of Siddim, a place once brimming with settlements and vitality, subjected to such a ferocious judgment that it eradicated an entire civilization instantaneously. Celestial fire, collapsing terrain, and surging waters. The Dead Sea, they claim, literally conceals these remnants, not merely metaphorically. When ancient chronicles align with contemporary discoveries, the distinction between myth and recollection begins to blur. For this sea is not merely lifeless, it is a sepulchre, perhaps the lowest on Earth. The Dead Sea is inherently inhospitable, being 10 times saltier than the ocean and dense enough to effortlessly buoy a human body. No fish, no vegetation, no discernible life thrives here. However, this very hostility produces an extraordinary outcome: perfect preservation. Salt does not decompose what it touches. It desiccates and immobilizes it. This is why scrolls have endured in nearby caverns for millennia, and why organic matter doesn't simply vanish here. Consider this. If an entire metropolis were obliterated in this valley, incinerated, crumbling, engulfed, its remnants would not easily disperse. They would sink, solidify, and persist. Ancient texts do not depict a gradual decline, but rather an abrupt, devastating moment of reckoning. When a catastrophe strikes suddenly, evidence is frequently preserved precisely as it transpired. This raises an unsettling possibility: that beneath these waters, beneath strata of salt and sediment, lie structures never intended for rediscovery. Not ruins exposed to the elements, but ruins sealed by time itself. In 2011, an unforeseen phenomenon was detected beneath the Dead Sea. Fresh water forcefully erupting from the seabed, piercing through salt layers presumed to be unyielding. Where this fresh water emerged, it created colossal salt pillars rising from the seafloor like columns. Scientists refer to these as salt chimneys. To a geologist, they are natural formations resulting from the interaction of water, pressure, and minerals. Yet, to those acquainted with ancient architecture, they bear a disquieting resemblance to vertical supports, clustered and aligned like the vestiges of a grand hall or temple. Once this imagery takes hold, it becomes difficult to dismiss. For if edifices once stood here, and the ground beneath them liquefied, what would remain? Not walls or roofs, but merely foundations, columns, and supports encased in salt, contorted by the ravages of time. Geology offers one explanation, history another, and the Dead Sea rests uneasily between them. Here, the compelling nature of the evidence becomes more pronounced. Along the cliffs near the Dead Sea's southern expanse, at sites like Bab ed-Dra, researchers uncovered an anomalous form of sulfur. Unlike common sulfur, which is yellowish, impure, and intermingled with other minerals, this discovery comprised pure white powdery spheres, reaching up to 98% purity. Such a degree of natural purity is rare, and these small, rounded formations are not accidental. These sulfur orbs are embedded within the rock as if they were projectiles or rained down. When ignited, they burn with an intense blue flame, exceptionally hot and rapid. Geologists struggle to account for this, As such, sulfur appears processed, compacted, refined, less like a mineral deposit and more like residue, as if something had burned here at extreme temperatures across a vast area. Ancient scriptures describe fire descending from the heavens, not metaphorically, but literally. Holding these sulfur spheres, the inevitable question arises: was this a natural occurrence, or was it the physical vestige of a cataclysm so profound it was immortalized as divine wrath? The Dead Sea is not uniform. It is segmented. The northern basin is deep, extending hundreds of meters, while the southern basin is shallow, only a few meters deep in places. This distinction is crucial because historians posit that the ancient cities mentioned in the texts were situated on dry terrain precisely where the southern basin now lies. If this land experienced a powerful earthquake, the ground could liquefy, transforming solid earth into quicksand in mere seconds. Buildings would submerge, people would vanish, fire would ensue, followed by water. The basin would inundate, engulfing everything, sealing it beneath briny waters. This would not merely destroy a city, it would erase it. No ruins to reconstruct, no walls to salvage, just a serene basin that gradually evolved into a sea. For 4,000 years it remained thus, concealed and undisturbed, until now. Today, the Dead Sea is diminishing, its water level receding annually. As it withdraws, the land begins to collapse. Sinkholes emerge without warning, roads disappear, buildings implode, and entire sections of ground simply give way. Scientifically, this is attributed to freshwater dissolving underground salt, creating voids that cause the surface to cave in. However, the timing is disquieting. As the sea recedes, the earth rends open, as if the ground itself is unstable, as if something beneath it was never meant to be disquieted. Thousands of sinkholes now encircle the Dead Sea, each a stark reminder that the surface is an illusion, and beneath that illusion, history lies compressed, preserved, waiting. The Dead Sea has always been portrayed as lifeless, a place devoid of existence, but that perception may have been the very lie that safeguarded its secrets. Salt preserves, water seals, and immense depth protects. If a city was annihilated here, burned, crumbled, and submerged, the Dead Sea would not erase it. It would retain it for 4 millennia. Now, as the waters withdraw, the seal weakens, the earth opens, and the past resurfaces. The water concealed the ruins for ages, but it cannot conceal them indefinitely, for the Dead Sea is drying, and when it does, the truth will not remain buried.